It's time now to answer your legal questions. Be sure to call us now. It's 256-536-0077. We've got Heath Brooks here with our friends at Timberlake League and Brooks. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely. Well, this morning we're going to be talking about spring sports injuries. So while we wait for some callers or some text, what can you tell us?
Well, you know, it's that time of year. I coach my little girl in soccer, and so it's one of those things that we worry about when our kids start playing soccer. What happens if my kid gets hurt when they're playing on a soccer field, or baseball's just started? My nephew just started baseball over in Georgia. What happens if you get hurt when you're playing a sport? Is anybody else responsible? Do you have a claim to make against anybody? How do you get your children treatment? So, you know, those are some issues that we deal with every spring, you know, as kids start playing sports.
Absolutely. Well, it seems we do have a text in here.
And this is a right on point question. Do I have any legal grounds to file a lawsuit if my child gets a concussion? Well, and if we're speaking strictly if my child gets a concussion while they're playing sports, there is potential there. It depends upon what happens. Most of the time, when your child is playing in a sporting event and they get a concussion, then that is something that is just happens, you know, as part of playing soccer, as part of playing baseball, as part of playing football, any of those types of sports. But if your child already has a concussion, coaches are trained on how to identify and get a child out if there is concussion. So if your child gets another concussion after they shouldn't have been playing, well, then there's a potential issue we'll deal with there.
Yeah, so with this, I'm sure people are thinking right now, well, what if it's a travel team? What if it's a school team? What if it's a college team? So does it matter, or does it still come into if the coach was aware what kind of injuries were prior? How did it happen? Yeah,
you know, you don't want to put a lot on the old coach, because a lot of times, you know, the coach has got to know the prior medical history. But it's if you are aware that a concussion has occurred, then there's some responsibility to pull the child off. And also, one thing to remember: a lot of these leagues, particularly private leagues, sometimes even rec leagues, have policies of insurance to take care of you in the event that you do get injured as a child on a field. So if you're on a field and maybe your child breaks their leg, or, you know, gosh forbid, breaks a wrist or something along those lines, then a lot of times the league will have a policy of insurance to take care of some of those medical bills. So that's something you need to be aware of when you sign your child up to play sports.
Absolutely. I mean, the insurance alone, I mean, that's something that could save you or anybody else that has an injured child, you know, from thousands of dollars in medical expenses.
That's right. And then, you know, and it's not so much, some types of sports like baseball or other sports that require heavy amounts of equipment, sometimes you may have a situation where there's a product liability claim. Like, for instance, if your child is playing baseball and a ball hits a batting helmet, and the batting helmet, which should sustain a blow from a baseball, ruptures and really hurts your child. Do you actually have a claim there against the batting helmet, folks? And sometimes that can be the case. So you've got to look at a lot of those different angles when your child gets injured that you may have to pursue a claim.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a good point. I mean, most people don't think about, hey, if this piece of equipment that was either provided to or that I bought at a store and expected to work, you know, what happens if that breaks? Especially, I think, looking at it as if you were provided that equipment. Say you work for, or you play for a little league soccer team that provides you equipment and the equipment is faulty.
Yeah, and sometimes what we look towards is the manufacturer of that equipment. So, for instance, in the realm of soccer, if you're provided shin guards that for whatever reason tear up, or, you know, cleats that just blow up and cause your ankle to become injured, then there's sometimes that you can have a claim against those product manufacturers. Oftentimes it's not the people that are giving you the equipment, it's the people that actually manufacture that equipment that you got to be really careful for. You know, and those are some issues that we deal with. It's interesting that you talked about if we're on a travel team, is there some responsibility? And so, you know, one of the things that we do look at is how are you getting to the event? So if you're while a lot of times when your child is in a sport, then there is no claim if the child gets hurt. But if you're traveling from point A to point B and somebody hits you in a car, then there could be responsibility there for the person that hit you. So there are some other areas that come in, particularly in travel ball.
Absolutely. Alrighty, Mr. Brooks, thank you. Well, if you didn't get your questions answered, remember you can always call or text our friends over at Timberlake, League and Brooks. Thank you again, Heath, for joining us. And remember that number is 256-536-0077.
And we do have a blog that can help you out with some of these issues as well.
Absolutely. Be sure to go check that out. And we will be right back.
Thank you.